And it came to pass, as he sat at meat with them, he took bread, and he blessed it, and he brake, and he gave to them. And their eyes were opened as they knew him, and he vanished out of their sight. As he broke the bread, Jesus was revealed. As we break bread, with how often we do it, we should see more and more of the victory of Jesus. We should see more and more of the revelation of who he is and what he is, and come into that understanding that the Apostle John talks about. As he is, so are we in this world. You see, it's only as we see more and more of the revelation of Jesus, more and more of the revelation of the plan of redemption, that we can see more and more who we are in God, who we are born to be. We're born to be kings and priests. We're born to be more than conquerors. And their eyes were opened. In the verse 32 it says that, then said one to another, did not our hearts burn within us while he talked with us and by the way, and while he opened to us the Scriptures? You see, they could look back and see that their heart burned within them. Whenever we come into the presence of God, which is available 24 hours a day, to be in the presence of God once we're born again of the Spirit of God. Because that's who we are. Yes, it's great whenever we come together and we, as a body of God's people, praise and worship the Lord. But you know, even in the deepest valley, in the darkest night, we can know the presence of God. We can have that burning deep in our spirit. And they rose up the same hour and returned to Jerusalem, and found the 11 gathered together, and them that were with them, saying, the Lord is risen indeed, and has appeared to Simon. And they told what things were done in the way, and how he was known to them in breaking of bread. And as they thus spake, Jesus himself stood in the midst of them, and he said unto them, peace be unto you. But they were terrified. How often does that happen? Whenever we're in prayer or we're seeking God, and the voice, we hear that voice of God, spirit to spirit. Here he appears in the midst of them, and he gives them a command. Peace be unto you. He didn't say, if you feel like being peaceful, be peaceful. He said, peace be unto you. That's a command. And because of their living in their unbelief, because they were living with their mindset, instead of being in peace, they were terrified. And you know, that happens so often. That's something that comes to the top more and more as you minister to people. Instead of responding to what the words say, and they're responding to something else. Instead of responding to the plan and the purpose, the promises of God, they're responding to the visibility of the plan of Satan. Instead of being peaceful, they've been terrified. Instead of believing God for the miracle, for healing, their minds on the bad report of the medical profession. I'm not saying anything about doctors, they only tell you what they know. But you see, we've got to transfer that mindset from the natural to the supernatural. We heard last week about that woman that had the massive heart attack, died for 4 minutes, and now the doctors say there's nothing wrong with her heart. We've got to get our mind off the natural and onto the supernatural.